Hello, everyone. Democrats in Congress failed to act in the best interest of Americans hardest hit by this pandemic. Amid inaction, President Trump stood up for every American who, through no fault of their own, needed relief. Politics, as usual, should find no place during this pandemic, but Democrats rejected multiple clean bills to provide relief. The American people are tired of games, they seek leadership, and President Trump delivered. This weekend, President Trump took executive action designed to provide the relief Democrats have denied to those who need it most. Through 4 executive orders, he took the following steps. On the payroll tax, he deferred payments of the employee portion of certain payroll taxes from September 1st through the end of 2020. On unemployment assistance, states will provide 25% cost sharing, amounting to a total of $400 per week in benefits through the end of the year. And then third, he extended the eviction protections. President Trump will direct HUD to prevent evictions resulting from financial hardships caused by the virus, doing everything in his executive capacity to make sure those renting and those homeowners are protected. Finally, on student loans, he extended 0% interest and suspended loan payments through the end of the year. The bottom line is that these actions will help Americans. President Trump is for the American people, and Democrats failed to deliver. Also, earlier this year, hundreds of Americans, working men and women at the Tennessee Valley Authority, the TVA, were told that they would lose their jobs to lower-paid foreign workers imported from abroad, and then suffer the further indignity of training their foreign replacements. President Trump boldly and resolutely intervened in defense of these hardworking Americans, rallying to their case, rushing to their aid, and taking action to restore their jobs. He invited laid-off workers and their representatives to the White House, and then he fired the chairman of the board of the TVA and one other board member. President Trump offered an ultimatum. The firings would continue until the cruel and heartless decision to fire the hard-working Americans was reversed. TVA did reverse. Layoffs have been canceled and tech workers have been rehired. In the words of Gay Henson, president of the Engineering Associates IFPTE Local 1937, the labor union representing the 2,200 highly skilled professionals employed by the TVA, in Ms. Henson's words, the president's personal intervention saved these jobs, restored the workers to their rightful place, and set TVA on the path to returning to its mission of service to both the workers at the TVA and to the people of this country. And with that, I'll take questions. Yes.
Haley, thank you. Starting right there with the president's actions over the weekend, how quickly can Americans expect to see that extra $400 of unemployment insurance?
So we hope to see it quickly and close to immediately. I don't have an exact readout for you on time, but a lot of this will depend on states and them applying, because as you know, it's 75% federal government covering and 25% the states, and they can use CARES funding or even existing unemployment funds for that $100, but it will require an application process.
And given that part of it is up to the states and the application process, is it possible that there will be a delay and that some individuals won't see this relief at all?
We will be working around the clock to make sure there's not a delay, but any delay that does exist, it's important to note where that delay and the responsibility rests. And it's with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, who they were offered a clean extension, not of $400 of unemployment benefits, but $600, and it was roundly rejected by Democrats. So this president stood up for the American worker at a time when Democrats refused to do so.
And just to be very clear, you're saying that you're going to work around the clock. You want it to get to Americans quickly. Are we talking weeks? Are we talking a month? Can you pinpoint the timeline?
I can't pinpoint a timeline other than we'll be working around the clock, and we encourage Democrats on the Hill to come back. Secretary Mnuchin has said he's willing to review any proposal because the American people deserve better than the games and the partisanship they've seen from Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and their Democrat colleagues. Ben.
Thanks, Kaylee. 2 questions. Just to follow up on what Kristen was asking, is there a mechanism by which the federal government can provide the $300 immediately, even if states don't provide the $100?
Well, it's important and in fact required by statute that 25% of that money be provided by states, and the 75% is what we can do from the federal government side. I would note states can look to CARES Act funding as a way to bring that $100 forward. They can also look to the general fund, but we will be pursuing every creative way possible to make sure that the preeminent priority prevails, and that is making sure that this money gets to America's workers.
And then the orders that the president signed, that doesn't address funding for small business businesses or for schools or stimulus checks. Does he still want legislation to address all of those things? And is he willing to negotiate with Democrats?
He absolutely would love to see both of those things. School funding is very important, and he's been for second round of direct payments. So we encourage Democrats to really negotiate with us in good faith. So far, they have not done so. In fact, moving further away from us rather than towards us. Negotiations work by coming towards one another, and it's incumbent upon Democrats to do that.
They say they've come down from $3 trillion to $2 trillion. Is the White House willing to go up from one to something else?
They've still put in several non-starters. They've never put forward a serious proposal. And the notion, before they claimed to have come down, they actually went up, and then they wanted $100 billion in school funding. We said, okay, we'll give you more than you asked for, $105 billion, to which was no longer acceptable. So they've been fundamentally unserious with each and every one of their offers in this negotiation. Yes.
Thank you. A number of Democrats, but also Republican Senator Ben Sasse, have suggested these executive actions are unconstitutional. Can you walk us through what the White House is using as a legal rationale for the president to step in here, and would you be able to share the legal opinions?
Yes, I absolutely can do that. First, I would note that what we are doing is entirely within the executive capacity of the president. On student loans, Section 2A, 2 subsection A of the Higher Education Relief Opportunities for Student Acts of 2003, which is 20 USC 1098BB, authorizes the Secretary to waive or modify provisions of student financial assistance programs to ensure that individuals who've been affected by the national emergency are not worse off financially. There's another statute for that one, Section 432 of the Higher Education Act of 1965, which gives broad authority to the Secretary. On unemployment, the Stafford Act, 42 USC 5174, says the president, after a state applies for it, can provide assistance to people who have been adversely affected by a major disaster. These are often known as other needs assistance, or ONA. On payroll tax authority, 26 USC 7508A plainly authorizes the Treasury Secretary to provide any taxpayer that has been affected by a federally declared disaster with an extension of up to a year. This was used before when the Secretary extended the individual filing deadline for 2019 taxes from April to July. And finally, for evictions, the authority would be suggesting that HHS and HUD consider whatever legal authorities they have to protect Americans. And also, the president merely instructed in that EO that we should do everything within the lawful capacity of the executive branch to protect Americans from evictions.
Yes, Haley, on China, is the administration planning to respond to the new sanctions that China announced this morning on several lawmakers and other people in the United States?
So I won't get ahead of the president on any actions, but we are certainly aware of the announced sanctions. And instead of taking meaningful actions, such as immediately repealing the national security law and stopping the systematic repression of Uyghurs, the Chinese Communist Party opted to respond with this symbolic and ineffectual action. And a growing number of nations around the globe are demanding real action from Beijing. The ball is in the Chinese Communist Party's court. This president has stood strongly against China, and he'll continue to do so.
Is there any discussion, Kaylee, of delisting Chinese companies on the U.S. Stock Exchange?
Again, I won't get ahead of the president on any official announcements. Yes.
Thank you. The president said over the weekend that he had heard from Democrats about wanting to restart these negotiations. Who exactly did he hear from? And then also his tweet this morning regarding, he said that he said that Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi had his number in regarding negotiations. Does that mean he is going to play a larger role in this process going forward, or is it still going to be Secretary Mnuchin and the Chief of Staff?
Well, they speak on the president's behalf. He's been actively engaged in the negotiations and working closely with Secretary Mnuchin and the Chief of Staff. Democrats should come to the table. Their immediate statement in the aftermath of the president issuing these EOs says that they would like to meet halfway, but those are empty words from Democrats that they'd like to meet halfway, because so far they've just gone in the other direction.
So did anybody reach out to him?
I'm not going to go through the president's call logs, but you guys can ask him later today if you'd like. He'll have a press briefing at about 5:30. Jeff.
Thank you, Kaylee. Secretary Pompeo has raised the issue of Russian bounties on U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan with his counterpart. Does that mean that the administration now considers the intelligence on this secure or clear? And if so, does the president plan to raise it with President Putin?
Yeah, so on the part about Secretary Pompeo, I'd refer you to the State Department. That was a New York Times story. So in terms of his personal conversations, I would refer you there. But on the part of the president, this was unverified, not conclusory as the New York Times initially reported. The president will always act in the interests of our troops and look no further than the killing of Soleimani and al-Baghdadi, which brought vindication to hundreds of U.S. servicemen and women who lost their lives overseas.
Just to be
Yes.
clear, does that mean that that Pompeo did not raise this? Does that mean that
I would refer you to the State Department.
But are the two sides seeing seeing the intelligence as different here and the State Department?
Again, you're asking me to verify reporting. That would be in the realm of the State Department. But rest assured, this president will always act in the best interests of our troops.